actually got my YouTube on this time.
Oh, there you go. Hey, what's up, guys? Damnation here, and we're ready for another rousing episode of Battle Pirates Crow's Nest. Tonight, we'll just go down the panel and everybody can introduce themselves. We'll start with the gray-bearded guy that has hair.
Hi, everybody. I'm Vlad, and contrary to reports, I'm still alive.
Next, we'll go to the gray-headed or the gray-bearded guy that has a little lack of hair.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Glad to be here tonight with my hat.
Tell them who you are.
Oh, I'm base name Ross Crow. Sorry about that. Glad to be here.
Next, the guy with picture of the Vikings.
Well, we didn't like the Vikings either. So.
Vikes, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I say, yep. Vikes, yep. And I have gray hair too, don't worry.
And last but not least, Tony.
Hey, Jax Jags here. Thanks for having me. I have very little gray hair, just a couple specks.
There we go. So now you know everybody on the panel. All right. So we got some Battle Pirate stuff to talk about. There were some things going on this week, and we're going to get into them as soon as I get screen share going. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the content change with subsector resource bases. These are replacing the regular DRAC bases and the DRAC uranium bases. They're going to be bases with a single new target. You're going to have 2 satellites released for now, Siege and Skirmish. They're, of course, your base parts and titanium targets. Satellites are co-op targets, and you can split the rewards with another player. Or you can use a full fleet of the new proto ships to complete target solo and earn all the rewards. So you can use prototype seekers for the uranium part and the upcoming proto centurion when it comes out for the base parts part. They had a little flavor text there. Let's see, what's it say? Greta Spader and the Draconians have updated their Draconian bases and Draconian uranium bases to subsector resource bases. They have increased their defenses to protect their resources. These new boss targets will be the ultimate challenge for your fleets. How it works. They'll unlock at Sector Threat Orange, and of course, as we said, only the 2 corners will be available right now. Each corner can be completed by partnership of older fleets, or you can do it solo for the new proto fleets like we were just talking about. And your rewards for the uranium, for the co-op, you're going to get 65K each. If you solo it, you'll get 130K. And for the base parts ones, if you co-op it, you're going to get 250K each or 500K for soloing it. So who's gone out and hit any of these yet?
Not I. I heard too much about them and seen videos, and yeah, no way.
I just watch them. I have watched quite a few. I have not done it myself, but I watched them.
When I heard bucks couldn't be used in them, I was like, what the hell?
You know, I remember when they said that, well, you know, building 8 fleets a year, that's a lot, and there was 4, and you had 2 each, and then we're gonna change it. We're not gonna have you build so many fleets. Well, now they're gonna have us build 4 raid fleets and 4 proto fleets plus the new FM fleet. So it really isn't a reduction in fleets, and that's the part of this that pisses me off. I hate forced co-op. If there's somebody around and we can go into a target together, fine. But in general, when you tell me I have to co-op, I just pretty much figure I don't need to do that target. So that means if I want to do these, I'm going to have to build these silly proto fleets, which are going to be another 100-day fleet or more.
Okay. Let me play devil's advocate here for a minute, because God knows you and I have never argued about anything before, so this will be something. The thing is, in my personal opinion, you really don't have to build the proto fleets, because you can still go out and hit the map targets for your uranium and for your base parts and for eventually your titanium and whatever's in the garrison one. So these are only for those people who are at the very top end of the game and who want to be able to solo these targets for whatever reason. You don't have to have the proto fleets. You can still do the map targets with your regular hunters or your fangtooths or your buccaneers or your hydras.
If the map targets remain viable. But there's an escalation in the amount of resources you're getting out of these targets. And do you really think they're not going to escalate the prices for things you need to use these for?
Well, I mean, even if they escalate the prices, I don't see how that makes any difference. If I can go out and hit 2 map targets and get 130k uranium for way less damage by not building a proto, if I don't build.
What I'm saying is that they'll make the map targets not viable by the fact that they just become an incredible grind due to inflation.
Honestly, I don't think so. I think they got their hands so full with so much other shit that they screwed up right now. They don't have time to go back and tweak those at all.
Well, one would have hoped that they didn't have time to do this. Now, let me point this out. I understand why the dub targets had to change. We were all doing them for next to nothing, and uranium had become free. And those targets, when we were originally released, it was taking 12, 14 hours of damage, and now we had people doing them for instant repair with year-old ships. I understand why the dubs changed. What the part of this that pisses me off is the proto fleets, and I got to be honest. I don't think that they release optional fleets. They will figure out a way to make it so that if you don't have these proto fleets done, you're going to be sorry.
And we can agree to disagree and not be disagreeable at the same time.
Now, I want to throw in there, though, on these proto. I started building some of these proto because I've got some time to do that. Well,
because you coined the crap out of something else.
Well, no, I haven't really been coining, but I just did because I didn't do the bounty. Haven't got the new alls to build. I've kind of just sat back and watched. So I have the proto building, and I got to tell you, it's not a hull that I'm going to use because you can make it as all you want, but the repair is too much for me to have to say it's enjoyable. 25 hours for a fleet? No thanks. I mean,
well, that's an improvement over the Manicore.
Well, that's just not a fun fleet. So it's not going to be used for me as long as it can't. I mean, as long as I cannot, I'll build it, but slowly, and I'm going to put it away because I'm not using that.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm checking my Tide Seekers right now because you keep coming up with this 25 hours. And I want to say, I don't think individual hulls cost all that long to repair. I want to say mine got sank the other day and it was only like 2.5 hours.
5.
That's why I'm logging into the game to double check.
Yeah.
But anybody else has anything they want to put in on these subsector resource bases, feel free while I'm checking this.
Well, yeah, they need to make it so multiple fleets can hit them. I mean, bucks shouldn't die in them either. You should just have to be able to use hydras combined with another Perth with a hydra to use them. I mean, 2 sets of bucks going in should be able to do them just as easy as the hydras do them.
What I have seen, it's kind of the reason I don't hit them at all is because I sit and watch. I do watch quite a few get hit. By one player one time, and then it's you got to get a new victim each time. It really is. That's what it really is, and I enjoy watching it because they have designed these with these mines in them, knowing that the attacking fleet has no detection on mines, and the entire mine, in my opinion, the entire mine's purpose is just to slow you down, so much you can't get the target done in certain instances. And
Yeah, I totally agree that putting mines and invisible mines in a target with that you're going to be using fleets that have no sonar detection whatsoever is a dick move.
that's what it is.
Agreed.
Oh, and I just checked my prototype seeker with fully dead repair time 2 hours 48 minutes.
For real? Then
For
what's
real.
Yeah, I didn't think they were that high. But, you could throw an Apex Hunter in there, and if I could be wrong, but can't you see the mines with the Apex Hunter in the lead?
If you want to put the Apex Hunter in with your siege fleet, yeah, because we're talking about the siege part of the target right now, fighters and the Proto Centurion, and you're like really would be decreasing the damage that you're going to do to all your turrets and whatnot at that point.
Oh, I must have missed something. Excuse me. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Well, they were talking about siege thing, but I just circled it back to the prototype and talked about the repair.
okay? So 2.5. I'm off. I am wrong.
Yeah.
I've only built one, is why, and I threw it, I guess, with the hunters, and they're just not. But okay, 2.5 hours. So for times 5, right?
Yeah. So you'd be looking at what, like 12
12
hours?
and a half.
Yeah, 12 and change.
Okay.
So, my personal opinion for a fully sank fleet, 12 and change isn't terrible. I mean, it's not like, the day that we're looking at with a lot of the fleets that if they fully get sank.
Well, yeah. I guess for me, if you can't go to sleep 8 hours, if you can't wake up, go to sleep, wake up, and have a new day, new fleet, then it's not right.
Yeah, I guess it's all perspective because some people get up and go to work and then come back and then they'll be all repaired by then.
That's right.
You're in that lucky position where you don't have to do that whole go to work thing. So, but anyway, I guess my wrap up thing on it would be, for the people who want to hit the top end stuff and want to do it by themselves and just, get the stuff and maybe knock it out a little bit quicker. I don't see where this is a terrible, horrible thing. However, I do wish they would have done the transition a lot slower than what they did as far as I don't think they should have replaced them all right away. I think they should have done a gradual thing like they've done with the FM in the past. I mean, based on them doing that with the FM, we know they had the ability to do it. And I think just doing the instantaneous changeover like this was a big smack in the face, especially low-level guys who currently maybe the only way they had to get uranium was, take their one Buccaneer in a drag-based corner and, kill it off. Maybe that was the only way they really had to get uranium. And now you totally took it away from them with no transition period. And I think that's wrong.
Yeah, I think it's probably just an economic decision on their end.
Probably so. So the next thing we have is we have some TLCs. We got From the Ashes. Vikes, were you going to talk about this one?
Yes. All right. I said the runtime From the Ashes is from June 6th to June 13th until 12 PD time to 12 PD time. The fleets are assault fleets you need. The recommended fleet is Skyfire for them. You get the prize pack 1, you get the Talon missile, and a 1-day Phoenix build. Prize pack 2, you get the Phoenix, carbon fiber casing, and 1-day Phoenix build times 2. Prize pack 3, you get the Guts build Phoenix, which is absolutely needed for them. And 1-day Phoenix build token times 4 and 6,000 VXP, 6,500 VXP Phoenix token times 2. And in prize pack 4, you get 5 days of Guts build Phoenix build tokens, 1 day of Phoenix build tokens times 5, and 6,500 VXP Phoenix tokens times 5. It's not a real hard campaign to do, really.
So, I mean, I guess this is good for people who maybe don't have their full fleet of Phoenixes built and want to finish them, or anybody who might want to do some tweaking. Honestly, though, with as many times as Skyfire has been run lately, you're probably way farther on that fleet if you're coming into this raid cycle naked. So I'm not sure why you would want to go back and start on Phoenixes at this point. So yeah, I would say this is only good for if you're trying to finish your Phoenix fleet or you want to tweak it. Other than that, I would say pass on this one.
Yeah, but I don't think it's been offered for a while. So, you know, I mean, I think there's been people that have been asking for this for a great bit of time. I mean, because we haven't seen this, right? I mean,
yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's true.
I think the timing's weird and the timing's off, but I think that there's a bit of a demand still that was out there.
It would have made a lot more sense if this had come out, you know, at the same time that they brought the first Skyfire one out. That way people could have chose between Skyfires or this, who didn't have either fleet. But now, you know, with the Skyfire having been out, campaign been out, what, twice now, I think, since this one came out. It's like people are kind of fully invested in Skyfires at this point.
Yeah. I love my Skyfires still, though.
Yeah,
I have heard some people saying though that people who actually did this found it to be a little bit difficult if they were trying to do it with Phoenixes as opposed to doing it with Skyfires.
I can believe that.
Okay.
Does anyone know if they added elite countermeasures to this campaign?
I'll be honest.
That's aside for them.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I have no idea because I don't need any of these tokens or any of the tech in this, so I haven't done it, and nor do I plan on doing it.
Well, you know, I have the KD, so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I've only done prize pack 1, but there were no elite countermeasures. Because if there were elite countermeasures, your Skyfire would be absolutely useless. And it is the recommended fleet, so I wouldn't expect to see it in the further prize packs. But there was not one in prize pack 1.
Mike Morfino in chat is saying that there are no epic countermeasures in the targets. So
well, I'll just run my KDs through and stack some tokens. Thank you there, Mike and chat.
Yeah, I think I'll probably give it a shot myself. I don't have the Phoenix fleet ever built, but I might just stack up the tokens. I went with the Skyfires.
Just in case you ever need to pump out a fleet real quick for something random that we don't know about.
Right. Or in case a better missile comes out or something.
Well, or in case I'm locked out of a TLC, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Or in case they develop something and put it out as a TLC that makes you sorry you don't have Phoenix.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not like they haven't done that before with other ships.
Well, you know, I'm sure they're running it for a reason. We just don't know what it is yet.
Also, we had the Turn the Tides campaign this week, and Ross, I think you were going to talk about this one.
Yeah, that one started yesterday, June 6th at noon PDT, and it's going to run till the 13th, also at noon. The recommended fleet for this is the Skirmish Fleet, MK1 Hunter. Now, in Prize Pack 1, you're going to earn the Proto Tide Seeker hull itself, the Hound's Tooth depth charge, 1 day of Tide Seeker build tokens. In Prize Pack 2, you're going to pick up the hydraulic resistors ×5. You're going to pick up the PBX payload, and you're going to pick up 2 1-day Proto Tide Seeker build tokens. On Prize Pack 3.
Hang on. I accidentally put Prize Pack 2 in there twice, didn't I?
Oh, yeah. But you did.
Yeah, I did. Hang on. Let me go. Yeah. Let me go the game real quick, and I'll tell you what.
I thought I was missing a pain pill someplace. Mike, have you been to my house?
Yeah. Apparently, I got into your stash and took some of your pain pills.
Prize Pack 3 is advanced concussive payload, Gale 3 ×5, and 2 1-day Prototype Seeker build tokens.
Well, thank you, Mike.
And then the Prize Pack 4, we're going to go ahead and get the Garwood Gatling Gun 2. along with agility system 4 times 5, and you're going to pick up 5 one-day build tokens for the Proto Tide Seeker. So that's there's quite a few tokens in this campaign here.
Nice of them to give us 12 tokens against a 120-day build.
Right.
I mean, I've been building the protos as I went along, and I haven't spent any coin on it. And once I get through the prize pack 4, I've built a whole fleet for free.
Yeah, and honestly, protos aren't like a 120-day build. I think mine come in at like about 12 days a piece, so you're looking at like 60 days.
Well,
Yeah,
you had,
So now you've got 12 days against 60.
Yeah, so you get a free ship for doing the campaign.
All right.
Yeah, sorry I put the one prize back in there twice. I guess I was possessed by the spirit of Kick's Eye and put out some false information there.
Oh, that's a good one.
Nice.
I'll be hearing about that at some point, I'm sure.
It was a bug.
And Vlad, to answer your question in chat, yes, I am just duplicating the gift proto.
Cool.
Yeah.
And all right, here we go. This slide's all you, Vlad.
Oh, we have the Achilles missile D55M update to deal damage against buildings, and we fixed an error where swapping tactical installation on an OP caused an SOS error, and they fixed an error where the walls were listed as individual buildings. Oh, that must have been fun. In the segment we're going to call Vlad's sad and unhappy time.
There you go.
Let's talk about that first one for a minute. Okay, how can you make a D55M missile that's supposed to go on Conqueror hulls and not have it do building damage? How can you do that? How can you do that?
It's a siege missile, but we're going to make sure that it misses buildings entirely. Or just hits them and doesn't damage them, one or the other. Either way.
It would hit and not damage them. I'm like, oh my gosh. It's like, I don't know. For the love of God, please let people test this shit before you put it out. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, you can't expect them to have the QC to get involved in anything that the players haven't found. I mean, it's just one big beta test, right?
Right. Yeah, I thought this game left beta like 5 years ago.
Hey, it works on their end, just not our end.
Just actually going back real quick to the previous slide about the proto campaign. One really good thing about this campaign is you do get a whole lot of limited shit in here. Like you get the 5 hydraulic resistors, you get the 5 gales, even though I don't have a picture there, and you get the 5 agility systems. So that's really something that in itself, in my opinion, makes this campaign worth doing.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. I mean, like I said, I've used my subs and I haven't spent a single coin to do it, and I'm a terrible sub driver.
So there you are. Are you as bad a sub driver as Liam? I think not.
I've never seen Liam drive, and even if I was not, I probably would not throw him under the bus.
I'm a bad sub driver.
Oh, I do. Liam did one stream one time where he was driving subs, and we've all picked on him ever since then because he just did absolutely terrible. So, all right. Next up, we got PvP balance fixes. And for those of you who don't know, this is a picture of Farmville. So they have heard our feedback regarding the imbalance of player versus player combat and want to share some information about the upcoming player versus player rebalance and bug fixes. These changes are slated for the 8/26 release, which is expected the week of June 26th.
Can I just
before Bounty? Coincidence? I think.
Can I just point out that every time I've seen the phrase, "we have heard your feedback," I've had to reach for a tube of Astroglide before I finish reading the sentence?
Okay.
Wow. I thought that was a better joke than it kind of fell flat. Sorry, guys.
That's a good one.
Not sure what you're doing. Not sure what you're doing while you're reading the forums, but this is a don't ask, don't tell show. So.
No, but I tend to agree. I tend to agree on that one. When it says we're listening to you, we've heard your feedback. It's like, oh my, here it goes.
We're about to take it. Yeah.
Yep.
So the first step, the tier 7 turret bug. Instead of having an additive bonus of 25% for each turret, we have discovered a bug in which group bonus of tier 7 turrets is being calculated multiplicatively. This is causing a wider than intended swing in the power of base defense by granting 600% bonus to a full set of turrets rather than the intended 200%. In the 8.26 update, we are correcting this calculation to be additive to match the description of the turret. This will give a total of 200% bonus with a full set of 8 turrets. While we do not have a problem with powerful base designs, the intention was never to be able to create an unbeatable base.
Because the coiners cry too much if they can't crack everything by clicking at the back of the base.
I wouldn't say all of them do that. I coin and I haven't cried one bit, and Ross testified to that one.
I fully usually come down on the side of the defenders because that's where I take my pride, is being able to defend my base, not hitting bases. I mean, I can hit bases if I would have the time to do it, but my dock is usually so red from doing other shit that I don't want to add more red to it. But it was getting to the point that bases for people that would have 6 of the ballistic turrets and 8 of the missile turrets, you couldn't get them. And it was, even from a defender point, it was no fun, because how can you have fun defending your base if nobody's going to hit you?
Am I reading this correctly, though? I mean, because I guess I'm not understanding this correctly, or this granting this 600% bonus. So that being said, now, if we're going to my base, the Howies. Now, there's not quite 200% offered yet, right? So we're at what, 150%?
Correct.
So they're actually saying that that bonus was stacking. So let's take, for example, the Blunderbuss 2. Why is my Blunderbuss 2 garbage then?
That might have something that could possibly have something to do more with the range than the damage that's doing. I don't know if anybody's ever getting close enough to actually get shot at by it.
No, yeah, I'd throw it right out there. I'll test it on anything. I'll call that. I'll call nonsense to 600% bonus or whatever calculation.
I'm not a mathematician. I know a little bit about math. If you take the 150 you just mentioned, Ross, and multiply that by the 4 Howies, you get the 600%, right?
Well, on Howies, you're not going to get the full 600 because that's with
I'm going to call there's nothing. They didn't find the bug that just overpowered it. They're not going to fix anything. They're just going to dumb down how strong, or either they're going to dumb down how strong they're saying the turrets are, or our fleet's going to get magically stronger. There's just no way they missed that bug for what, 2 months?
Agreed.
No way.
Oh, I'm not sure so much if it was the bug was missed or the bug was pointed out to them and they didn't want to acknowledge it. But here's one of the big problems I see. Okay, yes, granted, nobody can get in bases now because turrets are dealing 3 times the damage that they're supposed to be. But if you take them down to their quote-unquote intended value and you reduce the value that they're doing by 3, I see it's going right back to the point now where, turrets are going to be doing nothing but minimum damage to hulls again.
True.
Do you guys agree with that assessment?
Yes, yes. As a bases will be, a lot of bases now will be broken no matter what.
Well, no, I mean, no, it will just not be the base any longer. It's just going to be the guard that's going to stop you. Actually, the more the defensive turrets instead of the offensive turrets, because your offensive turrets are going to now blow kisses, but your defensive turrets will still work and your base guard will work, but the rest will do minimum damage, pass through.
Well, Cuttlefish just brought out a good point in chat too. You were asking about the blunderbuss. Well, blunderbuss has multi-shot, so it's that damage it's printed on is being divided by 12.
Okay.
So that's why you're probably only taking minimum damage from blunderbuss. But I mean, I think, and you guys can say what you think or not. I think the whole big problem of this is we're dealing with just such astronomical values and deflections and damage outputs at this time is why this balance is getting so difficult to maintain. Because when you're looking at numbers of like, you know, say you're getting 4 million points of damage and then you get another 25% buff on that and then adds like 1 million points of damage. You know, when you're talking about one turret making a difference of 1 million points of damage, there's a problem because it's going to be a matter of whether I'm like killing a third of your ship or doing minimum damage. And these numbers have got to get under control, man. Anybody else have input on that?
Well, I guess we shouldn't be surprised they screwed up on the math on this. I mean, go all the way back to the Reaper, and they haven't been able to get the math right. So, and look at how bad the error in the math on ranking screwed up the game for what, 2 years? So I'm not surprised that they botched it again. What surprises me is they haven't hired somebody with a degree in math to figure this shit out for them.
Well, let's be honest. The problem with ranking is still screwing up their game because everything is geared towards all the top end targets are geared towards legendary fleets anyway with the 400% reload thing. So,
yep,
that's still an ongoing thing.
Yes, it is.
But I mean, I think it's the numbers. It's those millions and millions of numbers and the deflections and the damage is where I think this whole thing is being screwed up. And I think they need to get these numbers down to more realistic values that where like, you know, oh, okay, we're buffing this by 25%. Well, that's not going to mean 1 million points difference in damage if we do that. That's just my thoughts.
1 million points.
Exactly, man. I don't know. I don't know that this is going to fix anything or it's just going to swing the pendulum back farther the other way and make it so most fleets are getting in bases all the time. I really wish, you know, have some people test this stuff before you put it out. I mean, seriously, like I cannot urge you to do that strongly enough. Have people test this before you implement it and see what you're actually going to end up with.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that hard, you know, to pick out a couple hundred players that have decent medal counts that are known to be a good base hitter and or a good base defender and throw them on a test server and test this out before you go public with it.
How many things have they thrown on a test server for select players? Those select players have told them about the problems with it, and they said, you know what, we didn't really care what those select players had to say, and they came out with it with the problems left in the product.
I couldn't tell you, buddy. I'm not one of the select players.
I don't know because we're not allowed to talk about that. So moving on.
That's why I said it very generically. How many of them? I don't know. I'm not one of those select players, but we know that they're test servers because we hear about them, and yet the problems keep coming out.
So let's go into the second half of this and talk about the accuracy bug.
Yeah, I can do that. The Battle Pirates team has discovered a bug which has caused any weapon or countermeasure equipped to a ship, both players and enemies, to unintentionally be granted a 100% bonus to accuracy. We want to ensure the equipment is working as their stats indicate, so we have fixed this issue to remove the bonus to accuracy. To ensure this does not dramatically change your gameplay experience, the team is working to rebalance the targets that have been released since the bug was introduced back in February. This process may take several weeks, and during that time, please don't hesitate to make note of your experience through feedback so that we can ensure we balance combat accordingly. Due to large number of targets and the variety of builds that people use. We are counting on coordination with the community to stabilize the aspect of gameplay, and we appreciate your input.
Yeah, okay. So apparently my countermeasures that weren't even firing did have 100% accuracy. So, yay.
Yeah, exactly.
We can get a little more into that during the countermeasure part. But
Well, that's a long time. February. Shoo.
yeah, I know, right?
February. Well, yeah, 4 months ago. All right. They discovered it and now just trying to fix it.
So,
yeah.
I guess they were too busy making these awesome new subsector resource bases to really
Yeah.
problem.
okay, but I guess if this was happening and they're being transparent about it, props for that. The rest, okay. I mean, but props to, because I want the transparent. I want to say what was broken. I want to say what was being worked on. That's part of my issue with the game right now. So I am happy about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they said they knew the bug was introduced back in February, and now it's June. Come on.
I don't understand how you go to a 117 and countermeasures don't really do all that much to protect you. What are they going to do after they take 100% accuracy out of them?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I will say, and the 117s is a great example, actually, because I know there's stuff in there that can't be shot down. So whether you had 100% accuracy or not wouldn't matter in those scenarios.
But yeah, there was a specific missile that was immune to countermeasure, but there was a lot of stuff in there that you were supposed to be able to shoot down. And when they take that 100% bonus out of the accuracy, what in the world are you might as well not even have a Zelos built to go in there with your dragons.
I would agree. I'd agree on that.
Yeah. And this is and that's something we'll get into more in the countermeasure section too, because they are apparently clearing up a lot of things in countermeasures that weren't working the way they were supposed to, and yeah, that's going to cause some havoc. I will say though, while might not be happy with a lot of these changes, at least we've got something that we've been complaining about for a long time, and that was lack of communication. At least we have gotten communication on this, and we might not like the communication, but I do give them thumbs up for giving communication.
Right.
That's something we definitely should not downplay at all. For them to come out and communicate is a huge thing.
Great. Then they can get their feedback that they want or don't want.
So here's your second slide, Ross.
Okay. For reference, there are a number of places this bug touches the game. As far as PvE targets, all of your ship-mounted weapons and countermeasures. All of your enemy ship-mounted weapons and countermeasures. In PvP, all conqueror weapons and countermeasures. All defender weapons and countermeasures. And then correcting a bug that granted 100% accuracy buff to ship-mounted weapons that countermeasures, adjusting targets to maintain current experience. So if you see something that looks unexpected, please let us know. Okay, so I repeated that from before.
Yeah, that's like a recap. But what does make me feel a little bit happy is they do mention adjusting targets to maintain the current experience. So if we do go in and our countermeasures without this 100% buff are suddenly making our fleets take, tons and tons more damage in 117s, for example. Apparently, they do have plans to adjust the target to maintain the current damage level that we are experiencing. Whether that comes to fruition or not, we will have to wait and see. But they have at least said that they do plan on doing something about it if it doesn't.
Okay.
My fingers are crossed that that's what happens, and we see that.
Yeah, that'll be and some of this stuff, you know, and as much as I hate to say it, some of these changes, we're not going to know exactly what they're going to mean for us as a community until they actually take place.
Yeah, I mean, there is the chance that we could see improvement. I mean, actual improvement into where we're happy with it, you know, that we're happy with the change they made.
Yeah, because I mean, it is a good thing to say that, you know, that the bug was also affecting the enemies, that they were getting 100% bonus. So with them not getting 100% bonus, it might all come out in the wash, maybe.
Now, here's the thing I find funny that may make some of you guys upset with me, but in the end, this is a game. It pulls us away from everyday stresses in our life. And if a game causes people this much stress, you know, maybe we should quit playing. I mean, if it bothers people that much, maybe we should step away. I mean, I'm not trying to be a douche or anything, but you know, I just speaking from my heart here.
In principle, I agree with what you're saying, but in practice, it's hard to just stop something you've been doing for like 6 years. You know what I mean?
I don't disagree, but if it's causing people this much stress, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a Farmville person. I guess I could watch more Blu-rays or something. Who knows?
Well, a lot of people step back anyhow a little bit, but they ain't stopped playing. They're not. No one's really stopping playing.
So let's go into the countermeasure part. Fights. I think you were going to cover this.
Yes, the countermeasure update. Well, the team is updating the way that countermeasures work to bring them in line with the expectations of how they should behave. Currently, most countermeasures that target rockets or missiles get a single shot at countering that projectile, while countermeasures that target mortars get multiple shots. At countering that projectile, UAVs act differently in that they can get targeted by countermeasures until they reach their first target, at which that point the UAVs become immune and will move from target to target. When introducing countermeasures that were able to target both mortars and missiles, such as Zelos build in the duality countermeasure and the Night Watch countermeasure, this introduced problems with how they interact with projectiles. A dual countermeasure treated both missiles and mortars the same, which means it either repeatedly targeted both missiles and mortars or only took one shot at either missile or mortar. As such, combining these countermeasures with other countermeasures could cause poor performance. Okay, when a missile is fired by a countermeasure, it is tagged, so it will not be targeted again. When a mortar is fired by a countermeasure, it is not tagged and can be continued to be targeted by countermeasures. Currently, this tag is defined by the countermeasure. Moving forward, we are changing this tag to be a projectile or not, based on specific projectiles that is firing at. Let's look at some more examples.
And as soon as I got a mouse over here, we will.
Example 1. Currently, the Night Watch countermeasure is tagging all projectiles it shoots at. So if you have equipped a Night Watch countermeasure and Gale Defense System 3, and a Night Watch shoots at a mortar, it becomes tagged, and the Gale Defense System 3 will no longer target it. After the update, Night Watch countermeasures no longer tags mortars and Gales, and Gale Defense System 3 continues to fire at the mortar, as will the Night Watch.
So is anybody else thinking maybe they have way too many mortar countermeasures in their base now? Or is that just me?
Possibly. And then example 2. Currently, the Zelos built-in duality countermeasure does not tag any of the projectiles it shoots at, which means that it can repeatedly target any missile or rockets that it fires at. However, if you had a Phalanx anti-missile system 4 equipped on your Zelos, once it targeted a missile, it would be tagged, and no additional countermeasures, including duality countermeasures, were targeted. After the update, the Zealous duality countermeasure tags missiles or rockets that it fires at, and no other countermeasures
can fire at them.
Yeah.
So this means Zelo's tanks aren't going to be near as effective as what they used to be. And and I'll let you finish after I get this part out there. So apparently, if this has been a problem since the Zelos, we were complaining about the accuracy thing, which had been a problem since February. How long ago did the Zelos come out? A year ago?
Yeah.
And this has been in there for a year? And they're just now getting around to be, oh yeah, hey, guess what? For the last year, this hasn't worked correctly. So
well, you see now, it will hurt it a little bit, but it's still gonna let both countermeasures work instead of just one.
Well, but the problem is though that like the Zelos before, if it would shoot a missile and miss it, your Phalanx 3 that you had on it, because we always did that thing with
that's great. Yep.
Left range, so it could shoot if the Zelos missed. The Phalanx 3 is not going to be able to do that with missiles anymore.
No.
And that's going to be a big problem for people who are using Zelos as tanks. But anyway, so here's the way we can expect things to work. For better or for worse, this is what we can expect after the fix. Deep sea countermeasures. Before the fix, they repeatedly targets all valid projectiles. After the fix, they will target missiles and rockets only once. So, quote unquote, they are getting nerfed. And I say quote unquote because apparently it's not really an nerf. They were just never supposed to work this way in the first place. Night Watch, it says mortars, but it should say countermeasures there. So we just copied and pasted that from the forum. So they are, before the bug fix, they are targeting each projectile only once. After the fix, they will target missiles and rockets only once, but repeatedly target mortars. Coaxial turrets. Before the fix, they target each projectile only once. And after the bug fix, they will target missiles and rockets only once, but repeatedly target mortars. Elite countermeasures, if they fire at all, are currently repeatedly targeting all valid projectiles. And after the fix, they will target missiles and rockets only once and repeatedly target mortars. And duality countermeasures are currently repeatedly targeting all valid projectiles. And after the fix, they will target missiles and rockets only once and repeatedly target mortars.
Now, I did notice that, in the midst of all this, the Night Watch anti-mortar has been, at least they did add, now that they're going to add that shoots down rockets. Because in the past, that has not. It says after fix, rockets. Only once.
Unless that was just a whole bunch of copy and pasting, and that kind of slid its way in there and it wasn't supposed to. Who knows? But my question is, in all this countermeasure refitting and reworking, and now supposedly we're going to make them work correctly, are they also fixing the problems of the countermeasures that didn't fire at all? Because Ross, didn't you say you can easily put out a Drac coaxial for anybody who wants to come hit it, and they will see that it does not fire at all at anything?
Correct. And you can set it on the rim or whatever. Yeah. Now, if you get into the range where it switches to the offensive type weapon, then it will fire. But until that point, it does nothing. And so I was wondering why it's not listed. It's actually conveniently not listed on there because it doesn't work.
You notice that the Sprint and Triton countermeasures are not listed in there either.
Nope. So this again is until we actually see it implemented and working, it's going to be hard to tell what the long-range repercussions of this are.
Yeah, we're not going to know how to refit anything right now until after it's all done.
Lots more missiles are apparently going to be getting through because apparently they were being targeted multiple times, and now they can only be targeted once. But apparently, less mortars are going to get through because apparently they were only going to be targeted. They were only be targeting once by some things, but now can be targeted multiple times.
Right. It does
kind of the end thing I'm taking from this.
That's what I was trying to figure out myself, and I agree with you with that. It looks like a lot more will be targeting mortars than has in past. So,
Well, I said, well, maybe they're trying to negate our mortar fleet now. Pretty much.
Well, I don't think it's that they're intentionally saying, "Oh, hey, this mortar fleet that people are using currently is actually almost managing to get into the really hard bases, so we got to do something to counter it." As much as it is, they're trying to make the shit work the way it was supposed to work in the first place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd say I don't know. Because I love my mortar fleet, and mortar fleets were get close to mine too, and it was just they were fun to use, but it's gonna be a lot harder now, I think.
I think that actually this helps me in a way. I know it's very strange to understand, but it does help me understand what I'm going to be seeing, I guess, coming up. And I like that they told us that it's coming ahead of time also. So I think we'll see the mortars being taken out of the sky a lot more, and I do believe that missiles will get through. So
Yeah, yep. I did have trouble with some of my missiles getting through on a lot of bases I've tried. I always try hard bases. I don't give a crap if I win or lose, and some of them I can see that missiles are not getting through as much, and now they might. So, I mean, it's good that they told us this, and we all know it now, so we can adjust accordingly.
Well, we can adjust accordingly, assuming that everything is going to work correctly.
Yeah, when we see it happen, when we see it all come out, and tests are being done on everybody's bases, and seeing how this all works, and people are flying through and stuff, we'll know.
And I go back to my earlier thing of, please, for the love of God, before you put these changes live, please have people test this.
You know what's going to be really fun is when they do each change live once a week, so that they'll have 2 or 3 months where you don't know what's going to work which way, and you can keep chasing your fitting all the way across all the changes.
Do they have enough tinfoil in the world to make a hat big enough for you? I'm just wondering.
It's going to be one of those we don't know. I mean, I think they're explaining what's going on. I don't believe that they've been working at all in the past. I mean, I think they've been working sometimes and sometimes not, and I don't see anything consistent, and not in my own base, that's for sure. Yeah. So
I guess to a certain degree that would make sense, because if, say, for example, we use the epic countermeasure for an example, if something is shooting at a mortar and it was tagging it as already shot at, then the epic cat probably would not be shooting, because that projectile was already marked as tagged. So that could explain why in some instances we were not seeing them fire at all. However, when you set it out on the rim and it still doesn't fire, I can't explain that one.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm really glad they put this out and let us know exactly how things are going to work. So, it's nice. Now we know. It explains it a lot better. So,
yep, and we can just hope they get it right. So maybe they will.
Yeah, my end assessment for all three of these changes is the accuracy one and the countermeasure one, where it's either going to have to be thoroughly tested, or like eventually live in game when we actually see what's going on. We won't really have an answer for exactly how positive or negative those changes are until we actually see it. As far as the whole turret thing, if they're doing 3 times the damage that they're supposed to, yes, they should be marked down to doing only 200%, like they were originally intended to. But I still think that the big, huge numbers that we're dealing with is what's causing most of the problems and making this balancing act so hard. Would be my end assessment of the 3 things that we're talking about. Anybody else have conclusion they want to wrap up with on 3 things?
My assessment on the whole countermeasures, I just don't think that they've been working correctly for quite some time. I'm glad that they're paying more attention to it in that aspect and working, trying to get some type of a fix. So I like that. As far as the accuracy, I just don't know. I'm just gonna sit back and watch that one as it goes along. And I'm just gonna sit back and watch a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the accuracy one concerns me more than the other ones do, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see how that works out.
So just to wrap up all that about the countermeasures, they are updating countermeasures to act as expected and maintain consistency across the game. Mortars and UAVs will be targeted by countermeasures repeatedly. Missiles and rockets will be targeted by countermeasures once. Conclusion: with both of these changes, your experience in battle pirates is being brought much closer to what is expected based on the stats. We are striving to improve the experience of battle pirates every day, and we appreciate you being part of this journey. I would say maybe wandering meanderously instead of journey, but whatever phrase there floats your boat. No, I think that was the last slide I have. So, wait, what else you guys want to talk about that we haven't covered yet? I'm sure you got something.
Have you seen the activity level sure slowed down in my own gameplay? How about everyone else's?
Mine has slowed down as well, and a lot of my group's activity has slowed down quite a bit too.
Yeah, mine's still pretty slow, but I'm still going it alone outside of an alliance at this present time.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still plugging in just as much, in all honesty, checking on things, but I'm slow repairing things, so I'm slowed down by that aspect of the game.
I mean, I see just as many people on the game as what I usually have. You know, comms is still fairly active and everything, but as far as people actually out doing stuff, I'm seeing a big decrease in actual activity as far as gameplay. Just as much activity and the community, but just a big downplay in activity.
Yes, just see everybody on there, going, yeah, I ain't doing this, ain't doing that. We're just gonna bullshit, and that's about it.
Well, it's a great game for that. I mean, that's where my friends are here. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's what drove me into this game mostly, is the people that are playing. So
yeah, they're still play.
They're still here. So
I still play for the relationships that I've made and the new friends I'm making. Because in all honesty, the game's crap. And it's been crap for 2 years now.
Well, don't sugarcoat us. Tell us how you really feel.
I told you last week. Now, I much enjoyed the Blackwater days and the Hammerheads.
Yeah.
Once they get past all that stuff, the game started going to crap.
No, yeah, I mean, I still
coder, but it's a ton of code for Flash to handle all the stuff they're doing with it.
Well, that's okay because we're eventually making the process over to HTML5.
And I think we'll see improved gameplay then if the game lasts that long.
Yeah, that's my concern.
I think I said I'm not worried about the game lasted. I mean, there's too many of us still that are too stubborn to leave it because of the friends we've made on here.
Yeah, you say that, but I know people who have played the game for like 5 years and said they played this game until they turned the lights out that have quit over the past year.
Yeah, yes, I know, and
well, I think from a game survival standpoint, more important than how many people are playing is that how many people are coining. My coining in 2018 is 10% of what it was in 2017 for the same number of months. I've literally gotten down to now I'm going a whole month on $10. So it's they got to have coiners to keep the lights on, and the question is not how many people are playing, but how many people are spending big money.
Well, it's spending your money on something that you think is fun.
Well,
If you're having a good time in BP doing what you're doing, spending your money on it, then fine.
No, and I've always been somebody who said if you see value in coining, go ahead and coin. I've never suggested that other people. I don't like the word boycott as far as the game goes.
No.
I've never suggested that, but I have suggested if you don't see value, then don't coin. If you see value, well, go ahead and coin. Somebody's got to keep the lights on.
Well, and in fact, I really knocked the coining down because I have coins left on my account still. But I'm not opposed to even if they come out with those half price coin deals and things that I enjoy in the game, or I'll partake in those things. I'm not opposed to. I still will. I'll coin any aspect of the game that I enjoy, but I just am fine. I'm just not finding those very much. So there's still some things in the game I might. I would have coined the dead fleet heading away from my base for 10 hours, but I didn't have a chance.
Now they had the $7 for 5 special that they ran. What was it, last week? And there was 3 of them, and I bought all 3. I bought $15. But when you did the math on it, you got 140 coin for $10, which is actually better than the bonus that you got for buying the $100, because that's only it's $12.50 for $100. If they want to give me 140 coins for $10, I'll buy the $10. I haven't spent but about 20 of them, and that was because I got a little froggy with some repairs, and actually helped the last hour or so along in a couple of repairs.
Yeah, I had it coins. What's the day? Thursday. I had it coins on Monday for the first time since the end of April.
I did earlier today, just for curiosity's sake, put a poll up on the forums of how many people would be willing to do a hard reset on PvP values, as far as getting away from these millions and millions and like bringing them down to more realistic numbers. And at this point in time, 87% of the people who voted on that poll would be interested in doing a hard reset of PvP values, even if, if it changed their existing stuff some. One of the votes who's against me, I'm not really paying any attention to that one, because the person asked me exactly what I meant by hard reset, and by the time before I could even get back to them, they voted no. So I think they were just looking to be argumentative, as I've seen them do against many other people, so I'm not even paying any attention to that one.
I would be for that. That goes back along the lines of the Hammerhead days and things of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's very telling that 87% of people would be willing to just reset everything with more realistic values.
It's a huge. That's the community saying, "Do something, do something." That's
absolutely.
What it is.
I agree, Ross. Absolutely.
It is.
Make the threshers viable again.
Out of those things.
I mean, just for fun, what haul do you think guys made? Do you guys think made the game start to go the wrong direction? If you were to have to narrow it down to a specific haul, it's like shit started going wrong right here.
Well, I would say for me, it's when the hardest time I had to adjust it was the onslaught, when that stuff started coming out. Once I got onto it, I mean, it's been pretty simple since then.
Yeah. For me, I would say, like, where things first originally started to go off the rails for me, it was probably back with nuclear cruisers. When you start big explosions.
Nuclear cruiser was the same spot I was going to pick.
That, in my opinion, that's where you really start to see power creep come into play. And like the power creep has just gone over the top now when dealing with these huge numbers. I said it once and I'll say it 1,000 more times. These huge numbers is wherein all the problems lie. And you don't have to have these huge numbers. Why use an arbitrary number of 1,000,000 when 1,000 will do, as long as you adjust everything around the 1,000? And when you buff something by 10%, then it won't be being buffed by 500 or like 100,000 or 200,000 points damage. It'll be buffed by like 200 damage. Just saying, get rid of the big numbers. This ain't freaking Pokemon. We're not impressed by big numbers.
Well, and in a way, that would help the longevity of some of the other halls too. The way it is now, with these huge numbers, and but it's either you're not good all the way up until this certain point, and then you're great at this huge number. But anywhere below that huge number is suck. There's no good. You know what I mean? So anything but the latest and the greatest, that's the great, and then everything else is suck. I think we need to get rid of that. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, you can start off with these. I mean, we got 20,000 armor, and then all of a sudden it jumped up to 1,000,000 armor. There's nothing in between.
And I understand that. I get the whole swing bit, but it's just not make it so drastic that every single thing before that is not viable. That's the point I'd like.
Well, or you're going to go to that million armor point and make the fleet last more than 2 weeks.
Yeah, what you have to say, they said we were going to see a slowdown in pendulum swings, and we have seen a slowdown in pendulum swings. It's just the pendulum swings themselves are so drastic that they swing way over to, oh, you can't hit nothing, and we'll stay here for like 3 weeks. Oh, okay, we're going to swing back over to where you can hit everything, and we'll stay here for 3 weeks. So, yeah, they've slowed down. They've just become way more drastic.
But they'll be hitting again with the turret changes. I mean, I foresee.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. There'll be a lot more hitting going on once this turret change. Everything changes. And it will make a lot of people happier, more bases will be getting hit. Everybody will be a little bit more happy. And a lot of people will be unhappy because now they're being broken when they weren't before, and it's going to be a
Yeah, if they miss it, Daniel, it could be Farmville instead of BP for all of us within the game.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it was that one bounty. It was a good. Everybody was hitting everybody, and it was. I mean, I actually had a good time during that bounty when we actually could get into bases, and you could still defend your base, but it was a good time.
And that's all any of us want to get back to, is having a good time in the game. And I think that's a great place to end it. So until next time, we will see you guys later. I'm sure we won't have a roundtable Saturday again because I got to work. I think roundtables are pretty much on hiatus until I say, hey, we're having a roundtable. So until next week, we'll talk to you then. Thanks for coming out. Thank you guys in chat. We always enjoy interacting with you. And give us a like and a thumbs up and subscribe and share us with your friends and all that fun stuff. And until next week, we're outie.
Night, everybody.
Take care, everybody.